let's unpack this a little. What are we seeing here? Well, we're seeing 4 distinct features. The first is this velocity. Why is it that these guys can go from nothing to ruling the roost within a really quick period of time? So our whole notion of time has profoundly changed. As I mentioned before in that chart, you know, the association, the relationship between demand and supply and time and growth has profoundly changed into this sort of exponential way of thinking. The breadth and depth, just like TransferWise, it wasn't just something that just stayed in Europe, it's right across the world now. So they internationalise very, very, very quickly, very, very rapidly. The third area is the systems impact that the fourth industrial revolution and these kinds of models are going to have. They'll traverse industries, they'll traverse countries, and they'll traverse all sorts of societies as well. And then lastly, and most importantly, it's about this word augmentation. It's the fusion between our digital physical worlds that these technologies have the capacity to achieve. Now, the good news, the Singularity University has been studying exponential organisations in the US for probably about 12 years. I've been studying them here in Australia for about 8. We now know the DNA of what makes up these exponential models and these exponential organisations. This is the DNA. This is what allows them to scale and to perform in such ways that a traditional linear or fixed model simply can't. Now, here's some examples of organisations from the third industrial revolution and from the second industrial revolution, which are deemed to be exponential models. And here's some new examples, again, of new organisations that have found their way onto the Australian ASX top 100 in a very quick period of time. Now, as mentioned earlier on, what's fueling all of this? Well, it's data. Data is the disruptor. And so when we look at the question of what Australian executives believe is going to be the most disruptive to them technologically over the coming 3 years, here's a list of all of the technologies, but what's common in all of them? It's data. Now, what I would say here is that Australian executives' participation in the fourth industrial revolution will be cyber by design. We are not prepared, I don't think, to step back from cyber and information security, as we can see here, and looking at cyber as being the #1 disruptor over the coming years.